back to H4K Online. This is week 4 of our series, Bounce Back. You know, the one where we talk about resilience. That's just my favorite word this month. I love it. I'm Nancy, and this is the news. All things VBS. VBS is June 27th. Don't forget to go online and register. It's going to be monumental, guys. See what I did with that? Monumental. Make sure you're here. It's the place to be. If you want to register, go online. And if you want to volunteer, and we hope you do, go online for that as well. Both of you need to register. Kids participating and volunteers. Everyone registers online. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook to keep you up to date on all things H4K. Also, wanted to say to all the kindergartners who came last week that are moving up to first grade, I hope you had a great time. Miss Cheney loved meeting all of you and seeing all your sweet faces. She said she thinks, don't tell her I told you this, she thinks you're going to be the best first grade class yet.
What?
Shh, don't tell her. Guys, I gotta go. See y'all next time. Bye, guys.
I know it's tough to have to do what you have to do, but sometimes you have to do what you have to do. No regret! Okay, first of all, let me just establish what we are doing. We're training. It's spring, baby. That's right. April. Smell the pollen. You know what I'm saying? You got your allergies going. You know what that means? It's time for us to get in it, get fit, and get ready to be warriors! American Ninja Warrior. So yeah, we're here with our American Ninja Warrior training. And I had my homeboy Caleb, you know what I'm saying? He went to go through the course first to check out if it was good. How'd it go, Caleb?
Oh, Lord.
All right, so fit me up for a nice boot. But it's all right, I got this. I'm a real one. Work is hard. Hardcore. Oh, ooh. Didn't Jesus get pierced in his side on the cross? I feel like that. I love Jesus, so I can endure. But family, I just want to let y'all know, you'll probably only see me doing that once, because it's hard to get back up. I mean, okay. I've been an extreme sport athlete my whole life, but extreme pain is not something I enjoy in this whole process. I know what you're thinking. When you get put on punishment because you left your tablet in the living room for the 5th straight night, it brings you extreme pain that you can't get back on it on all your favorite apps. I am not talking about that at all. I'm talking about real pain, man. It just hurt. And so when I think about having to climb all the way back up here, because I know I want to be the top American Ninja Warrior, it's just something I got to do. But if we're honest, even when we know the right things to do, even when we know the things that would just honor God and please God, if we're honest, that would please our parents, that would make our household and our living so much better. It's still kind of hard to do those things, even when you know they're good and they will bring about so much laughter, so much joy, and so much vitality in our homes. And it will bring us the things that we need. And so that's the part about trusting God. Now, sometimes we get hurt, but then sometimes we need to know that God still got us. Like, 1, he can heal us. 2, he can take care of us. He can keep us away from certain pains that we will never know of. But we have to trust God. See, because when I look into the Bible, I look and see people who God loved, and all of a sudden, they start loving God back. And then God would call them to do amazing things, like stand up to those bullies at school. Or you know what? Really buckle down and study hard for that test because you know you got it coming up. But you just think about everything that's happening. You can feel real down. You feel like, I don't want to do this again. I did the right thing one time. I don't want to do it again. Y'all, sometimes it's hard to get back up. But when we think about all the people through the Bible, when we really study their stories, we see that everyone has had a fight with adversity. And that's one of the biggest challenges of us. When this danger, hurt, harms our feelings or are hurt and we feel crushed and depressed, we got to remember that if we trust God to help us through this process, we can get back up. And that's the idea I want you all to take home with you today. Our big idea is that trusting God can help you get back up. Alley-oop! Oh! I made it! And I'm not jumping. Y'all take care. Love, peace, and Jesus, family.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story. Inspired by the book of Hebrews, chapter 11.
Some days, some weeks, even some years seem hard. You feel like staying in bed and tugging the covers over your head. You feel like you can't face what's out there. The person who wrote the book of Hebrews knew all about that feeling. We don't know for sure who they were, but we do know this person loved God deeply. They understood that the more we discover about what God has done in the past, the more we can trust God to act now. Listen to Hebrews 11.
Faith is being sure of what we hope for. It is being sure of what we do not see. That is what the people of long ago were praised for.
Faith is not just about blindly hoping for the best when we get out of bed. It's taking a long look at the big picture of God's work through history and trusting that God can work out all the hard parts of our story too. The writer of Hebrews goes on to talk about dozens of men and women who faced difficult times, yet still trusted God. Men and women who got back up even when things seemed impossible. Just think about Abraham. When he was 75 years old, living a comfortable life, God called him.
Abram
spun around. Vast darkness stretched around him while stars wheeled overhead.
There's no one. It must be. Is it God?
The people of Haran worshipped many false gods, thinking they were real. Abram knew this was something different, someone different.
Leave your country and your people. Go to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you. You will be a blessing to others.
The words of the Lord were staggering. Though Abram had no children now, God promised him enough kids and grandkids to fill an entire country.
Okay, God.
We read in Hebrews,
Abraham had faith, so he obeyed God. He did it even though he didn't know where he was going. Abraham listened.
Abraham trusted God, and his journey of faith into the unknown led to God's miracle gift of a son, Isaac. In fact, the entire story of God's people starts with Abraham's simple act of faith. Now let's take a look at Abraham's great-grandson, Joseph.
Joseph had faith.
Joseph was Daddy's favorite, with a colorful coat to prove it. He was even cocky enough to share his dreams with his older brothers.
There were 11 stars. That's you guys bowing down to me.
Joseph's brothers were so angry, they sold him as a slave. Joseph ended up in faraway Egypt, forced to work hard. But instead of sulking, he made a choice to trust God. He forged ahead and did the work in front of him. Over the years, Joseph's situation changed from good to bad, to good to bad, to good again. In each case, Joseph got back up again and trusted God to work out his story. In the end, Joseph was made second in command to the Egyptian Pharaoh.
I'm putting you in charge of the whole land.
In this position, Joseph was able to save his entire family, God's people, when a famine struck. Hundreds of years later, God's people, the Israelites, had grown into a great nation, but they were forced to work as slaves. So God called a man named Moses.
Moses had faith.
Moses, an Israelite, had been raised as the Pharaoh's grandson, but when he grew up, he ran away from Egypt. He lived a quiet life until God called him from a burning bush.
Moses. Moses.
Here I am.
Don't come any closer. Take off your sandals. The place you are standing is holy ground.
Moses was an old man by this time. He probably didn't want to start a brand new adventure, but God called him to face down the Pharaoh of Egypt.
The Lord says, "Let my people go."
Moses chose to trust God. He led the Israelites out of Egypt and through the waters of the Red Sea, even as the Pharaoh chased them. For 40 years, Moses led the Israelites through the desert, facing attacks from the outside and complaints from the people.
We had it better in Egypt.
And at long last, Moses himself was able to glimpse the land God had promised Abraham so long before. Abraham, Joseph, and Moses are just a few of the people we read about in Hebrews. Enoch, Noah, Rahab, Gideon, Samson, David, Samuel, and the prophets. These people did amazing things through faith. But faith in God doesn't mean that everything will work out perfectly. It means we can keep going because God knows the end of the story and promises to make everything right, both for these individuals in Hebrews, but also for us. We have an incredible opportunity. When we choose to trust God and get back up, we continue the story of these amazing men and women in Hebrews. And no matter what we face each day, we can know that God has planned the perfect end to our story.